Okay, welcome everybody to a fantastic webinar we've got this morning with Bryan of Bryan Beauty Training and a Therapist Co-Operative. We're here from Thinktree Hub, as ever, supporting the wellness industry. And I'm really, really happy to have Jane on this morning because we've got somebody with 20 years experience in the beauty industry, 15 years experience in training. She runs her own academy. She's actually running an academy both in the UK and Spain. She has got trainers all around, anything from aesthetics, beauty, electrical, facial, holistic, laser and IPL, massage, nails and waxing. Anything else, Jane? That's the list I've got.
Then the business strategic side as well.
Yeah, and I think that's very much what you're sort of setting up with your Therapist Co-Operative, if you wanted to say a quick word about that.
Yeah, so the Therapist Co-Operative is a membership site that we've set up. There is a little bit at the end of the presentation where it's looking at 4 core elements of your business, but also your self-care as well, which we found that during lockdown, a lot of people had realised they sacrificed quite a lot, their mental health, their well-being, their everything for their business, even their home life. And then at the beginning of lockdown, they're all saying, you know, oh yeah, I really made a mistake. I'm not going to go back to what I was doing. And what happened as soon as you got back to lockdown, you all went back to doing what you was doing. So we're very much into self-care, lots of meditation, lots of hypnotherapy, self-care tips, etc.
Brilliant. And I think for anyone who doesn't know Jane and who hasn't been part of a group, she's got about 9,000 members so far in her Therapist Hub Facebook group. And it has been an absolute treasure trove of information and accurate information. And what's more, I would say intelligent information and not reactive, but extremely informed. So I would say Jane is an absolute gem, really, in terms of everything that she's been doing for the beauty industry.
Thank you.
That's all right. It's a pleasure. I have been there. I have watched you. So this is absolutely completely genuine. And also, I think what you'll see with Jane is somebody who's very, very honest. What you see is what you get with Jane.
It is.
Yeah.
You either like. I'm like Marmite. You either like me or you hate me.
Well, I like Jane. So.
Thank you.
Anyway, so what Jane is sharing with you today is all content repurposing. To be honest, when I heard the title, I was going, what do we mean by that? But when you have a little look at exactly what it is, you're going to realise that it is the difference between somebody choosing you or somebody choosing to go somewhere else. That is why it's really important and crucial that you get into it and realise that it's not really a huge amount of effort. It is just thinking around the subject and making the most of everything you've got. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Jane. If you've got any questions and you're live, pop them in the Q&A box if you're actually on the Zoom webinar, or anything in chat, and we will endeavour to answer them at the end. So Jane, I'm handing over to you.
Thank you. What do I do? Do I do anything? Does it come over to me?
Yeah, no, just share your
screen.
Right.
Okay, I'm just going to share my screen. It may take a while to come up because my internet is not that great. So Rosemary, is it up on the screen yet?
It's up on the screen, yeah.
Right, I'm just going to make it bigger, so you're not seeing everything else. Let me know when it's gone bigger.
It's still small.
Still small. There we go. There we go. Is it big now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Rosemary and Thinktree Hub, for asking me to come on and do a webinar. They've actually been asking me for months, actually. And I've been running around like a blue-ass fly. I moved to Spain on January the 21st to open up an amazing retreat on our mountain in Spain. And we were fully booked this year, and then COVID hit. So we're not getting anyone. But it's been really good because we've managed to actually do things that we didn't think we were going to have time. And everything, well, the last week should be happening. I'm in the UK at the moment because I just had a grandson, so I've got 2 weeks with my grandson, doing my 14 days quarantine, and then I've got a week's training, and then I'm back in Spain. So hopefully when I go back, everything should be finished, although they have a few snags, so maybe a week after I've come back. So yeah, they've been asking me for ages to do a webinar, and I thought, well, I wanted to do something that was interesting and was actually going to have an impact on your business. So I thought I'd do content repurposing. And content repurposing is just one of the many free masterclasses that's included in our membership to the Therapist Co-Operative. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. So I never remember how to change my slides. Here we go. So just really want to set the scene into what, I don't know if any of you have heard of content repurposing before, but just want to set the film. Sorry, I've missed a slide out, I think. There we go. Oh no, I'm giving you it all away now. Hang on. Close your eyes until it goes back to the original slide. Oh, something's happening to my screen and it won't let me. Oh God, sorry. It's actually sending my pages down rather than up. Hang on, let me come out of that, come back up and share again. Let's start again. Is it big now, Rosemary?
It's big.
It's big. Okay, so here we go. Imagine a world where Spider-Man never evolved beyond Stan Lee's comic books. So there'd be no Spider-Man movie, no Spider-Man TV shows, no Spider-Man computer games, no toys, no merchandise, and no books. It was just the comic book. Where Walt Disney stuck with just cartoon animation. So no Disneyland, no Disney Channel, no Disney stores. Or the 19th century novel Les Miserables. There'd be no stage show, there'd be no TV, and no film. So what do they all have in common? Well, they've all been repurposed into multiple formats. And that's basically the essence of content repurposing, getting one bit of data and then put it into different formats. And that's content repurposing. So you might have seen this. Both these films, The Shawshank Redemption and Stand By Me, they originated from actually one book. And it's a book that Stephen King's a very famous novelist, but there's probably not many of you would have read this book, Different Seasons. It was short stories. And both of those films actually originated from Stephen King's Different Seasons book. So classic case of content repurposing. So content repurposing is about getting the most value out of every piece of content that you do. And isn't that surely what we want to do? We want to get the best out of everything we do, because we spend a lot of time, or we should spend a lot of time, thinking about the content that we're putting out there. And wouldn't it be great if we could just do one piece and then chunk it down and put it into different formats? And then we've got a lot, you know, from one video, you could maybe get 12, 13 different pieces of content. So if you're only sharing your content in one format, think of all of those people you're missing out on your very important message that you want to get across to your customers or your potential customers. And by one format, I mean, you know, maybe one podcast episode, one blog post, one YouTube video, one Facebook video, etc. So if you're only putting that out once, you're actually only going to be accessing, your clients are only going to be accessing, or future clients are only going to be accessing that message once. Is it okay that your amazing content only reaches a small proportion of your target audience? I hope you're going to say, no, it isn't. I want all of my content to reach as many people as possible. So you need your content to reach your audience, and therefore you need to be present on multiple platforms. But with the right mindset, the right systems, and the right processes, you can maximize the potential of every piece of content that you create. Welcome to the world of content repurposing. So it's about finding creative ways to communicate your message in different formats, in different locations, so you can reach and connect with more people. And if you think about anything that we do, they're a form of communication. So different formats, visual, video, oral, they're all different formats that you can communicate in or with. Locations, we've got websites, we've got YouTube, we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got Twitter, we've got, what's the other thing, LinkedIn. And there's all these other platforms that are coming out now. I mean, somebody sent me a link to a new platform I've never seen, and it's supposed to be a rival to WhatsApp. But in the, my mind's blowing with all these different platforms, and I can't actually, I'm too old now to cope with too many. So I just basically, you know, narrow down the platforms that I'm comfortable with and know inside out. If we try and be on every single platform, it just can be a little bit confusing. So it's all about reaching and connecting with more people. And connection is really important, as it's only through connection we will actually convert people to either booking in with more treatments with us, buying more products with us, or actually converting them from just watching us on Facebook or whatever, actually booking in for a consultation. So I hope you now agree that content repurposing should take a part in your content marketing plans. And it isn't a simple copy and paste exercise. That is not content repurposing. That is just copy and paste. It needs to be strategic and it needs to be creative, but don't panic. It doesn't take a lot of time. When you get your head around what content purposing is and how you can do it, it really doesn't take that much time to be strategic and creative. So what are the benefits of content repurposing? How many times do you think you need to get in front of a person for them to take action? So when I was in my background, before I joined this industry, I was in pharmaceutical marketing and sales. And I entered that business at the very young age of 21. And between the age of 21 and 30, we only had to see a GP or a hospital consultant 3 times before they would prescribe our product, assuming the product was any good, of course, or how many times we took them to the golf course or out for dinner. But hey, we're not allowed to do that anymore. You need to get in, today, you need to get your content in front of people 7 to 13 times in order to get them to take the action that you want. And we call that the rule of 7. And I'm going to talk more about that later. So the more times you're actually putting your message out there in different formats, it helps you to become known and increases your authority. Now, we should all be positioning ourselves or trying to position ourselves as the expert, the person to come to, and you need to get that authority, because if you've got Salon A on Salon B and Salon A are really hammering it out there, really interesting stuff, all repurposed in different ways, and you've got Salon B that's not doing anything and they're not really coming across as an authoritative figure, if they can choose A or B, I can guarantee you they're going to go with A. So it helps you become known, increases your authority, and we need people to quickly identify who we are and what problems we solve, because if we don't actually pitch it out there as to what problems we solve, we are not differentiating ourselves from Salon A and Salon B. And generally what happens then, they're going to go on a price difference. So they're probably going to go on the cheapest salon. Sorry, my grandson's just come in. Joseph! Sorry, my other grandson's now crying. Sorry about that. So when we're thinking about putting anything out there on social media or any kinds of advertising, we shouldn't be expecting that phone to be, or that email to come straight away. It's not going to happen. It doesn't happen. It would be lovely if it happened in this world, but it doesn't happen that way. So these people may not need to know, may not need you today, may not need to you to say, you know, say for instance, you're really hot on eradicating pigmentation. They may not have pigmentation today. They may not have the funds to, even if they have pigmentation, they may not have the funds to work on their pigmentation with you. But when they do have that problem, or when they do have the funds, if you're really positioning yourself as the authority, they know where to come when they do have that problem or that funds, as long as you don't put the brake on any of your marketing. So content repurposing helps you to do this, as the same message is repeated in different ways. And if we're just copy and pasting and saying the same, so we're doing that on Instagram, we're doing that on Facebook, we're doing that on our website, that's just copy and pasting. But content repurposing is saying the same message but repeated in different ways and in different formats. So content repurposing also improves your chance of being found on search engines. And remember, if people have a problem, they tend to search for a solution. Now, it used to be they would search on the Google or something like that, but actually YouTube is becoming a bit of a leader over Google in terms of people typing in how to do something. So if you're not on YouTube, you haven't got your own YouTube channel, that's something you need to be creating. And funny enough, we do have one of those masterclasses in the Therapist Co-Operative. So if people have a problem, they're going to search for a solution. They're not going to search for the benefits, because they don't know the benefits of your product. They're going to say, I've got pigmentation. What can I do to eradicate pigmentation? It also helps you save time with the content, as long as you've got those systems in place in creating core content and then repurposing it. And you actually find you're finding more content, but with less time dedicated to actually creating it all. Obviously, when you're repurposing in different formats and different styles, you're going to reach more people. And when you're doing this, you're going to establish a strong connection with people. And we need that connection, because people only buy, whether you like it or not, people only buy from people they know, like, and trust. And people will understand your content as sharing the same message, but you're sharing it in different messaging formats. And we need to reach as many people as possible through our content at different locations, and we need to connect to people through their different learning styles. So different people are going to connect with you in different ways. So therefore, if you create just one original piece of content to communicate your message, you limit your content's potential to connect with a larger group of people. So Facebook posts may not be someone's learning style. Facebook videos may be someone's learning style. Facebook videos may not really appeal to some people, and they're more likely read a post. So can you see where I'm going in terms of different learning styles there? And learning styles are highly relevant to the world of content creation. And if you're a trainer, you'll understand about different learning styles. And it's up to the tutor. You know, if I say something and the student doesn't get that, that's not the student's fault, it's my fault. It's because I haven't actually connected with their learning style. So I have to think of a way that is, I can actually say that, portray that information in some type of communication so that my student understands what I'm trying to communicate to them. So we all learn things in different ways because our brains are wired differently. And wouldn't it be very boring if this world, if we all, our brains were all wired in the same way? And people tend to have one preferred way of learning over another. And in your workbook to accompany this webinar, there is a questionnaire so you can understand your preferred learning style. I'd also recommend you do it with your staff as well, because sometimes you've got that staff member where you're saying the same thing over and over again, like a broken record, and they're just not picking it up. That's your problem. That's not their problem. You just haven't communicated to them in their preferred learning style. So it's a great exercise to do with all your staff members too, and your family members as well. So, you know, my grandson, I keep saying to him, Joseph, listen to me, that's a no. And he's not understanding that. So I've had to now work out, because I've not been with him for 6 months, I've now worked out 7 months, I've now 8 months, I've now worked out what really resonates with Joseph and what he actually understands. He's still sitting on the naughty step though, I will say. So how is this relevant to your content? So when we talk about strategy, I know a lot of therapists don't tend to have a marketing strategy or a content strategy, and they just throw things out. That's so wrong. We do need to have a strategy when we're marketing, we're doing content. So at the heart of any content strategy should be to add value to your audience. If you're not adding value, if you're continually saying, buy me, buy me, buy me, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best, and then you're saying, why isn't my Facebook marketing working? Think on, because you're not actually adding value. You're just saying, buy me, buy me, buy me. So to enhance that, we need to make it easy for our audience to consume our content in their preferred learning style. So therefore, repurposing your content can play a key role in helping you convey your message in a way that suits the multitude of learning styles our audience has. So we've got all these different learning styles. So we've got visual. So what is a visual learning style and how can we connect in with that? So pictures, before and after pictures, images, so graphics, logos, charts, photos, slideshows work really well for visually learning preferred styles, animations. And if someone's got a visual learning preference, they're more likely to be hanging out on Instagram as it's more visual. Oral, so sound, music, podcasts, audiobooks, verbal. They really like taking part in discussions. So Facebook Lives are great for them, webinars, live Q&A sessions, groups, that type of thing. And then we've got physical. And that can be difficult for online content as it normally means touch, so hands-on. So maybe you could think about detailed information, printable step-by-step guides that bring things to life for the physical learners. And then we've got logical. I'm a little bit of a logical learner, so I like charts, structured blogs, infographics. I'm one that, you know, if I get just got a whole load of information, when my dad was alive, bless him, he didn't do punctuation marks or he didn't do punctuation or paragraphs. So it would just be one long thing. I just couldn't read it, it just turned me off. And we got those that prefer learning how we call socially or interpersonal. So they like forums, groups, Skype or Zoom calls, face-to-face events and virtual events. And then we've got solitary. I can also be, I've got two learning styles. Solitary, I can be a solitary learning style as well. So they like online courses, online membership sites and self-learning. So so hopefully now you can understand what I'm talking about, my learning styles. And if you're just putting out a Facebook post or a Facebook video, you're not switching on to everyone's different learning styles. So when we're content repurposing, when we repurpose, we need to make sure where possible, we're covering off the different learning styles that your clients or your future clients or your target clients may have. So I'm just going to go through a quick thing about how to repurpose a video. So it's a live experience as well. So you're providing interaction and transparency. And when you're doing lives, you can actually, if you go through like a Facebook Live Producer, you can do polls and you can do questions and you can make it really interactive. And that's what I think you should be doing when you're doing a live video as well. And I know that can be quite daunting. So if you're doing a video and you're not really happy about doing Facebook Lives, for instance, you can do a Facebook Live and just post it to yourself. All you do is you go Facebook Live and where it says, where do you want to share it? You say just to myself, and then just keep doing that. Or you can create a Facebook group and you're the only one in the Facebook group and doing lives in there and then sharing it back. I am really good at doing Facebook Lives. I am not that good about doing pre-recorded videos because I want everything to be perfect. Well, I'm not perfect when I speak. You can obviously see here because I was pressing the buttons and it wasn't really working for me. So I'm much more of a live person, and it takes me forever. I mean, I did pre-recorded about 3 weeks ago, all day, and literally it was a 10-minute video. I just thought, oh, for God's sake, I'm just going to go for live from now on. So when you're doing live, as I said, it's experience as well as providing interaction and transparency. So you've done a Facebook Live. You can extract that video and put it into other locations. So you can put that into YouTube and LinkedIn. You could also add it to your vlog, your video blog, and more. So what we've done this video and we've just extracting it and putting it into different locations. So this is then going to cover off your 3 learning styles. So verbal, got visual, because I'm visual looking at you now, and social and interpersonal, because I'm talking to you and you may be asking some questions and you could be talking to me back. So then you can create what I call baby videos. So imagine your video has lots of baby videos, and by editing and cutting it down, you're then going to be sharing your baby videos on different platforms. So you could do a 1-minute video, cut it down to a 1-minute video for Instagram. You could do 15 seconds, cut it down to 15 seconds for stories for Instagram and Facebook. And you could splice and dice. So you may have a question and answer section and you've got some really fantastic questions in there and you've given the most amazing response. So you could splice and dice each question and then send those out as videos and repurpose those in all the different video formats that you can get there and locations. Pay attention to the length of video per platform and the aspect ratio, so square, landscape, portrait. They say it's best to video in landscape because then it then is more accepted in all the different locations that you might be wanting to post. Always add captions. So when you've done a live, you can then save it and then add captions because not everyone has volume on when watching video. And there is a figure, and it's quite a high proportion actually don't watch with the sound up. And then you can extract the audio from the video and use that as a podcast. And when you've got, wherever you've got a video, you've also got audio. So you can put the audio onto SoundCloud or Anchor FM, or just use an audio file on your website. So now we've covered our 4 learning styles from one piece of content. We've got verbal, we've got visual, we've got social and interpersonal, and now we've got oral because we're putting it out there on audio. So then we can now create written content from the same piece of content. People still want to read, and written content really helps with your SEO. A blog post, maybe about your live video. I do that quite a lot. I put that up on my, well, before lockdown, I did this a lot. I've taken my foot off the pedal because obviously I'm trying to set up the retreat as well, but I'm back on it. When I go back to Spain, I'm going to be really ramping up, like I used to do, all of my social media. So blog posts about your live video, articles for different locations, presentation notes, and you could create a series of different articles from that same content, and you can email that series to your mailing list. Now, if you haven't got a mailing list yet, this is something you really need to be doing. A lot of people feel that emails are sort of dead, and they aren't. I mean, you know, You might not get every single person to open up your email, but how long does an email take? Not long. And you could get maybe, my average open rate is quite high. I get around about 60%. And of that 60%, probably 30% of those will take the action that I want them to take. I used to be MailChimp, but it ended up being very expensive for my list size. So I changed to MailerLite, which is cheaper. And actually it comes out better in a lot of the polls. So now we've got the written content. So we've covered off 5 different learning styles now. Same piece of content. So we've done verbal, visual, social and interpersonal, oral, and solitary, because written content, they're reading that on their own. And then we can create visual content from this one piece of content. So you could create quotes, really interesting quotes that you've done during your live, or maybe somebody's put in chat or something like that. You could put in graphics. You can pull out, again, quotes from the live stream. You can put raw photos in from the live stream. So I know what a lot of people do is they take a picture of all the people on the webinar and then post that into their social media somewhere. You can put pinnable images in Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is an amazing thing that's often neglected in our industry. And it is really, really, really helps with your social media and your search engine optimization. And a lot of people are searching on Pinterest, but actually finding people like you and I. And you can also create slides from your live video, like I've done today. So you can all have copies of the slides that I've done. And you can put the slides into slideshare.net, and that's a public, what we call it, a public system thing where anyone can then upload your slides. So now we've covered off 5 learning styles, so verbal, social, interpersonal, oral, solitary, and visual. And then you can create downloads or how-to guides based on your live feed. So printable downloads, step-by-step guides, and you could even do it as a content upgrade, and you can make some money from it. So now we've got 6 learning styles: verbal, social, interpersonal, oral, solitary, visual, and now physical, because they can actually do something with it. And then you can do checklists as well. So guides or something similar to help with those more logical learners. So they quite like infographics and stuff like that. And if you're not on Canva, Canva has some amazing infographics, and it doesn't cost that much to have a pro, what do you call it? A pro membership. Oh, my brain's gone today. So then we've covered off 7 learning styles. So verbal, social, interpersonal, oral, solitary, visual, physical, and logical. So hopefully you can see from one content, which was a live feed, we've now repurposed it, which is going to touch on the 7 learning styles. So it's going to meet everybody's needs somewhere along the way. So what's the impact on your business if you're doing this content repurposing? So let's say we've got Salon One, got a very simple website, more like an online brochure. They've got contact information, maybe a short explanation of who they are, a couple of testimonials, and a contact page. Now, I would say that if this is you, think on. This is not going to win you a lot of business. You got Salon 2. They've got all the usual features you would expect from a website and so much more. They've got blogs with article after articles on education and success stories. And oh my gosh, and you're actually seeing it all. They've got detailed frequently asked questions. If you have got a frequently asked question in your website, please update it. Every time someone asks you a question, update it, because if one person's got that question, more people are going to probably have that question. And the more detailed your frequently asked questions set bit is on your website, the more you're actually going to attract clients. They've got downloadable guides. They've got useful checklists. They've got videos. So Salon 1, very simple. Salon 2, so much more. Who are they most likely to call? Now, if I put myself as in the consumer, I'm not really going to contact Salon 1 because A, they haven't really thought that much about their website. It's just very standard, very basic. And to me, I'm going to be thinking, and this may be wrong, might be taking a big leap here, but I think maybe your treatments are a bit basic. Salon 2, knobs and whistles on. I'm going to go with Salon 2 because they're probably state of the art. So 5 reasons why I think you must repurpose your content. Number 1, it's going to increase your audience reach. And we want that. We all want to expand that audience reach. I mean, we know that Facebook, during lockdown, Facebook could say that their organic reach, which is non-paid for advertising is between 1 and 6%. Oh, do be quiet, Facebook. No, it isn't. Just before lockdown, it was 0.9%. And I think during lockdown, it probably went to 0.5%. And I think it's staying at around about the 0.5%. And you guys that are going over quantity rather than quality, and you're fixated on vanity measures such as the number of likes or followers you've got on your page, you're wrong. Because if you think your content's only going out to 0.5% of your people on Facebook, that 0.5% may be 0.5% of people who are never ever going to buy from you. And these people that do follow shares, you know, all you therapists that follow each other, your message might be going to 0.5% of other therapists. They aren't going to book in with you. So think on about what you really want to be measuring, who you want to be attracting. I'd rather have 100 people following and loving me on Facebook and knowing that of those 100 people, my message is going to go out to at least 0.5% of those, and more if I'm content repurposing. So if you only ever create podcasts, then how do you reach people who don't listen to podcasts? I personally don't listen to podcasts. I know it's something I need to do, and it's actually on my action plan. So I haven't got any UK figures, so bear with me on this one. In 2019, 70% of Americans didn't regularly or even listen to podcasts. So if that's all you're ever doing, 70% of your audience are never going to see you or hear you. If you only have created written content, how do you reach people who hate to read, or maybe don't read, or are dyslexic? If you only put content on your own website, how do you reach people who are never going to just happen to stumble on your website? And with content repurposing, you will increase your audience reach if you repurpose your content in different formats and publish it in different locations, because you're going to reach everyone's different learning styles, and you're also going to access people, whatever their preferred social media platform is, social networking platform, I should say. So increasing your audience reach means you're going to have more conversations with people and therefore more conversions. So number 2, content repurposing is going to help you get found by the search engines, and never underestimate the importance of search engine optimization. When we want to know anything these days, what's the first thing we do? I mentioned this earlier. We head to a search engine. And SEO focuses on your web pages, organic rankings on popular search engines such as Google. And the placements on search engines are earned through using SEO effectively, and it makes a big difference when it comes to people finding your content. So in terms of, if you haven't claimed your business and Google My Business, claim it. They send you a postcard with a code on. You need to verify that. Get your clients, send your client the link. Ask for testimonials. If you don't ask, you're not going to get them. And then and give them the Google link. I actually have the biggest number of testimonials on Google My Business than any other training provider, and all very, very positive. I quite like a low. No, I'll just try. I think when you all get 5-star, it does make people worried, but they are concerned whether they're genuine, but they are all genuine. You can also update posts on Google My Business. So we should be trying to do that like twice a week. All of this is going to bring you up on the search engine rankings. So the placements, so the placements on search engines are earned through you using SEO effectively, and it really does make a big difference. So a lot of people may pay for SEO, and I've paid for SEO. It costs a lot of money, and I'd much rather do everything organically now, because I think I've earned it when I do it organically. And it's important, only a web page is going to rank on Google, not your whole website. The whole website never ranks. So if you're not looking at your Google Analytics, please look at your Google Analytics, because then you can see which pages web pages your potential customers are going to see. And if there's a web page that no one goes on, think on what is it about that web page that means people aren't hitting it. These are the 3 main factors that affect SEO and why a web page will rank. So if you're doing content repurposing, you're going to get higher up in the search engines. So these 3 things that actually affect search engine optimization: authority. So your web page has to have sufficient credibility within the search engine to be considered a useful page on your chosen topic. So if you haven't got that credibility, you're not going to show up on the search engines. And as more people link to your page, Google then gains trust in your content, and they see it as being more credible. So that's why we need to be driving traffic from social media to your website. You know, if you're ever, only ever getting people and you're booking people in on Facebook or Instagram, what happens if Facebook or Instagram disappear one night? You have lost all of your clients. You haven't access to your clients. So really, Facebook, social media, anything like that, should, whatever you do, whatever your call to action is, the one thing you must be driving them to is to your website. Once they come to your website, the next the thing you need to do is be collecting their information. And you don't need to know their shoe size or, you know, anything else. All you need to know is their first name and their email address, because the more information you ask them for, the less likely they are to fill it in. So content repurposing can improve your SEO through increasing your outreach and helps you gain the authority that search engines are looking for. The other thing that helps with your ranking on search engine optimization is relevance. We call that key phrases. So for a search engine to register your content, it must recognize that it's relevant to your chosen topic. And the use of relevant key phrases throughout your copy of your web page, including titles, headings, subheadings, and text, will optimize the page and allow it to rank. But don't overdo it, because if you just put key phrases all the way through, you're going to get penalized. Now, the other thing to think about on your when you're actually putting pictures in your website is name those pictures, not by Fred, not by Joe, actually name them by the treatment, because that also boosts your opportunity of getting recognized or showing up in the search engine. It raises your profile. Keyword research is an important part of SEO, and you need to consider which keywords and phrases are most relevant to your page, which ones you want to rank for, and how much competition you're facing. And all this is free. You can find this information out, and it's all covered in how to do this in the Therapist Co-Operative. Because what you don't want to be doing is you don't want to be putting keywords in that every single salon in your area is also using. You want to be unique, but not so unique that you put something in there that clients aren't going to identify for and search for. And then the other thing is you need user interaction signals. And user interaction signals can be positive or negative. So positive, a person online is searching your key phrase and clicks on your web page. They're really impressed with the web page, and it's got some great graphics and a video to watch, and they stay a while. Google associates the longer, what they call dwell time, the longer you stay on that page, they associate the longer dwell time with your key phrase and the web page, and then pushes your quality content further up the ranks. So again, if you just got a page and you've just got basic information, you're not going to get that dwell time because there's nothing to keep that client on that page for. And then we've got negative interaction. So another person searching your key phrase and clicks on your page, but they're not impressed. The article is very wordy and boring, or nothing in there, and they quickly leave the page. Google then registers the short dwell time and marks the page as lower quality content, and then lessens the chance of it ranking in search. And have the best page for your topic. For your posts and your articles to rank on Google, you need to show you have the best page on the internet for your chosen topic. What do I mean by that? The best page compared to your competitors. And you must satisfy your visitors' needs, and that means producing high quality content. Sorry, that's my son. Yeah, so if people aren't staying on your page, it's a short dwell time. And for people to stay on your page, you've got to satisfy their needs. That means high quality content. And articles that do well on search are how-to posts that answer questions, step-by-step guides, and best practice articles. So think about those things and how you can incorporate that into your website, into Facebook, and all the other social platforms. So number 3, I mentioned this right at the beginning, the rule of 7. In the old marketing term, it was said that somebody had to see something 7 times before they took notice and take action. I remember when my daughter started out as a therapist, she would do one post and she'd get really disheartened. I said, Daisy, one post isn't going to hit it. You do it 5 times, and on the 5th time, oh, sorry, my screen's gone blank. Oh God, I've gone back to the beginning. Sorry, don't know what happened there. Now doing spell check. Rule of 7, might make that big again. Yeah, so she used to say, oh, why aren't they buying from me? And then when I said, you've got to say the same message in different styles. People then start booking in with them. People don't tend to buy the first time they meet you or hear your message. You go into a networking meeting. Is somebody coming running up to you saying, can I book in with you? No, they're not. They've got to know, like, and trust you. So people respond to consistent messaging and repetition. And over time, this leads to that familiarity. And with familiarity, then becomes trust. And the rule of 7 was developed, I mean, this is how old it was, in 1930. So whilst it's easier to reach people today, 1930, did we have telephones? Can't remember. We certainly didn't. I mean, what come after telephones? Faxes? I don't know. We didn't have computers. We didn't have the internet. So it is much easier to access people or reach people today, but it's much noisier world out there and can be very difficult to get noticed. You know that on Facebook, every 30 seconds, 7 new profiles are created, 7 new businesses are coming on Facebook every 30 seconds. That's worldwide. And that's why it's even more important to get your message in front of people as much as possible. So content repurposing really helps out here, because we're repeating the same message, but in a different format and a different style, and it's going to meet different people's learning styles. Number 4, it's going to touch all those senses. So as I mentioned earlier, those 7 different learning styles. And number 5, it's going to gain authority and credibility. As I mentioned, I always talk about, as therapists, we need to own our mountain, and people look at me, what do you mean you're mountain? You want to be at the top of that mountain, you've got to own that mountain. Once you own that mountain, you go, yeah, I'm there. And then what people do is then they take the foot off the gas, and then they slip down the mountain. Once you can own your mountain, you've got to stay at the peak of that. Then once you own your mountain, you become known for what you want to be known for, and you get that authority and you get that credibility. So if you repurpose your content, you're basically finding new and creative ways to communicate the same message. And the more you talk about something, the more you get known for that particular topic. And believe me, all this works. I've done it. It really does work. Reiterating your advice, your points, your ideas in many different ways and in different forums allows you to demonstrate your knowledge and your expertise, and it helps you to build your authority. And this is what we all need to be striving for as therapists. And we can't be, the other thing, people say, oh, I do massage and I do facials and I do this and I do that. I can't be an authority in everything. No, because then you're going to be a jack of all and a master of none. I would say to somebody, think back, what's your passion? When you know what your passion is, that's what you're going for. That is what all your marketing should be around. My passion is skin. I used to, in pharmaceuticals, I launched many, many different products, but I was very passionate about dermatology. I was also very passionate about mental health. I also do that as well. So when I become a therapist, because my skin was so bad through everything, you know, 2 nervous neck breakdowns, blah, 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 my skin was a mess. And I was at a certain age, and I changed. Everyone compliments me on my skin, and my clients, no matter what age they're coming in, say, oh, it's too old for me to restart. And I tell them about my story, and they go, wow, I think I'm going to really buy into it. So my passion is skin. Everything I talk about is skin, but it doesn't mean I don't do other treatments. It doesn't mean I don't post about those, but my passion is skin, and it comes across in everything that I post. And you want to develop your authority in whatever your passion is. So if you repurpose your content effectively, and by continually adding value to your audience, excuse me, you can generate more leads, more traffic, more shares of your content, and you can reach more people. Because Facebook have now really been a little bit more explicit. Again, this is another masterclass that's included in the Therapist Co-Operative. You get different, I'll call them brownie points. You get different brownie points for the different types of reaction your clients get. And Facebook loves shares. The more shares you have of any of your posts, the more it's going to open up, expand your organic reach. So when you're sharing content on Facebook, always think your aim is for people to share whatever you're posting about. So still not convinced? 70% of consumers would rather get to know a company through articles than advertising. I personally don't think print advertising works in our industry. 85% of business-to-business buyers believe companies should share useful information through social media. 90% of people say that informative or instructional videos are helpful in their purchasing decision. 90%. So if you're not doing live videos, you really need to be rethinking that. And as I said, you can just share the live videos to yourself. No one else is going to see it. But don't beat yourself up. I don't like the way I speak. I don't like the way I look. But that's me, and I had to get over it. I'm very comfortable doing live feeds. I've been doing them for a long time. And 54% of people won't click a banner ad because they don't trust them. So all these people that are actually putting money and spending their marketing budget on banner ads, 54% I'm going to click on it. So don't try and do it all at once, as then you will do nothing justice. But remember, content repurposing starts at the planning stage. So when you're planning content, whatever you're doing, whether you're doing it as a live feed, you're doing it as a post, think about whatever you're doing, how can I repurpose this? So I'm going to talk about that later. I'm going to have to come off again and go back in. Yeah, so you think strategically. Whenever you're doing any piece of content from now on, think about, right, okay, how can I repurpose this, in what format and on what platforms? And you may decide to do a live feed and then maybe post it on your website. That's content repurposing. Start small, get confident with that, and then roll it out to different formats and different platforms as well. So that is it about content repurposing. I hope you found that interesting. As I did say, I was going to tell you a little bit about the Therapist Co-Operative. So it's a membership site, which is an inclusive community of like-minded therapists, and we're all about actively bettering our businesses, our social media, and our self-care together. It is an inclusive group. Everyone gets on well with each other, and we've created 4 core elements to help you grow your business: strategy, social media, self-care, and motivation. So we have mini masterclasses. I would say they're not mini masterclasses. This wasn't a mini masterclass, and they're all about this length. And everything has actionable handouts and workbooks as well. At the beginning of every month, we have our master plans. So we have targets that we want to achieve. So that would be sales, retail, profit, social media targets, self-care targets, and then we review them at the end of each month. And if we haven't hit them, we then need to ask ourselves why. What can we do differently so that we do hit them? You get supplier discounts. We also have guest speakers with actionable outcomes. In terms of self-care tips, self-care blogs, guest speakers who specialize in self-care. And I'm a hypnotherapist and a meditation tutor. So I create downloadable hypnotherapy recordings and downloadable meditation. And I make these open. So I just say to the group, right, what do you need help with this week? And they might say confidence. So I'll create a hypnotherapy or a meditation download around that. Social media, we have a monthly social content calendar full of awareness days and fun days, monthly blank calendar for you to fill in your own events, a large range of inspirational images. We give you 1 engagement post per week, which will get you engagement, monthly social media blog tip, an ebook with lots of ideas and descriptions of the awareness days, a newsletter, and your monthly insights tracker. And that's called the Sociable Bundle. That in itself is worth a lot of money. And more. You get access to our exclusive Facebook group, monthly reviews. We have weekly challenges. Actually, we've cut them down to fortnightly because it's all a bit too much for them. So one thing was they were not very confident on doing Facebook Live. So I set them a challenge every day. They had to do a Facebook Live in the group. And then basically what they didn't realize was there was a story unfolding. And at the end, on day 8, they then had to go live on their own groups with their Facebook story. Motivational posts every morning, fortnightly Q&A with me, access to turbo calls with me on anything that you want, end of month wind down call, 10% of all of our courses, both our Jane Bryan Beauty Training and also Jane Bryan Beauty Business Strategic courses. And I mentioned the supplier discounts. This is just one of our quotes from one of our members. So before the Therapist Co-Operative, I was struggling through with my business. I love doing all the treatments. I love seeing my clients, but I never took time to concentrate on the business side of things. And unfortunately, that's what happens. You're so busy working in your business, you're not working on your business. So, you know, you suddenly look in your diary, oh my God, I've got no appointments in 3 weeks' time. And then you start panicking. So Jane and Daisy, my daughters with me in the company, have completely changed this for me. They've given me the tools and thought process I need to give the business the strength going forward. I still could make improvements, but their advice with the business side of things and social media has been so valuable, and for such a small amount each month. I've easily made back the money. I actually look forward to where my business could be in 5 to 10 years rather than worrying. Thank you both for all of you and all the Therapist Co-Operative members. You are so so supportive, and I no longer feel like I'm on my own in this. So some of the content our members have received is obviously this content repurposing. We've had goal setting, sales, retail, social media, mentioned about that one. We've had the Facebook Live challenge. I'm very hot on vision boards, so we've had a session about creating your business vision board and your personal vision board, because there's no point putting everything in your business, then you've got no personal life. Content repurposing, Facebook Lives, how to actually use Facebook Live Producer, an amazing tool which petrified me, I must admit, but has so many benefits. How a lot of people don't really understand the difference between profit and turnover, so there was a masterclass on that. The power of mindset, the secrets of Facebook engagement. Oh, there's loads more. So some of the content members have received so far, they've had 3 downloadable meditations and actually 1 guided hypnotherapy. And we've had external suppliers come in and offer us, actually it's 4, 1 come on board today, at 10% discounts. So the usual price is $39.95 per month, can be cancelled anytime. And if you sign up, well, before the end of 13th of September, I'm offering that at £30 a month, and that's the website there. So I have finished everything, Rosemary.
Wonderful.
Stop the share. There we go.
Jane, thank you so much. There is so much of huge value there for people. I was thinking in a way, because you could see it, the whole gamut of it of being slightly overwhelming, and then I thought, well, if you just see it as different types of cookie cutters, you know, you've got a whole heap of...
Yeah, and you don't have to do, it's not like you're doing your Facebook Live now, and then as soon as you're on your Facebook Live, you're then you're repurposing it. You know, just because you've done it this week, you might re-content that in a different format in 2 weeks' time. It's not all going to be bang, 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 bang. It will save you time.
Yeah, I think if you see, you've made your pastry or your biscuit dough, and you've just got different shaped cookies that you're cutting it all out, because some person likes a cat shape and another person, you know, wants a star.
Yeah,
that's all. You're just focusing on what works for different people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm very much about, I think finding your, what really came over is the importance of following your passion, not what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, the big buzzword, I haven't got your picture on screen, it's disappeared, I don't know why.
I'm not seeing your face move.
Oh, okay, I'm seeing my face move, but I can't see yours. But
oh, right, I can see me, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all about finding your passion. Because as I said, we can't be all things to all men, because then we become a jack of all and a master of none.
And also, I think if you're not interested in something, it shouts it from a mile away. That's a mile away.
Yeah.
And besides which, you really want to work with the people who have got the issues that you're passionate about.
Yeah. And like, it's interesting when even my friends are saying, when you talk skin, your eyes light up. Does it? And yeah, because I am passionate about it, because you know, it's a first thing people see, and people can be, you know, when people like have got really grade 4 acne, you know, they're actually probably putting their hair all over here, which is causing their acne to be worse, but they're so embarrassed about their face. And when you see that transformation and you see them smile because you've actually helped them with their condition, it's just amazing. It strokes all my buttons anyway.
Well, you take so again, because you're talking about it, your voice speeds up, you know, the tone changes.
Yeah.
It's clear, and then you're going to put so much energy into doing what you are actually passionate about. So yeah, that's a really important take home for people.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that the shocking thing, as you said, the organic reach is about 0.5% on Facebook.
Yeah.
And in fact, I mean, for anybody who's listening, we did a whole webinar on local SEO with a guy called Josh Hammett, probably last year now. So again, that will be in our webinar library. So if you're a member, a Thinktree Hub member, and you go in the library, you'll find a whole webinar on local SEO, which would take what you've got from Jane and take it further, because it is just an hour focused on.
I'll have a look at that one. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, no, have a look. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Very local to me, and that's what he specialises in. And that's why I organised it, really, because I thought it's so relevant. People running small local businesses, they need to know about this. And the other important point, and I think so many therapists, the whole thing is social media. But you know, tomorrow it might not be there,
Mm-hmm.
or you might not be on it. So you've really not got to see it as an end in itself, but as something that drives you towards an asset that you own.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing you really own is your website.
I mean, you know, Rosemary, all the problems I had during lockdown where Facebook
I do know all the problems you had.
blocking me in my own groups and everything. So I actually, so if I had still have my business in the UK, my salon in the UK, I wouldn't have been able to access them because I was blocked. So thank God I have a mailing list. So.
Yeah, exactly. So you just absolutely cannot rely on any social media, and more they get conglomerized into one or two main ownerships.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's probably the most important, I think, for therapists to understand. Do not put your eggs into one basket.
Yeah, definitely.
And
so, I mentioned about the workbook as well. The one thing I forgot, so the workbook covers off the preferred learning style, and there's also action for them to take. So I've asked them to take one piece of content that they've done and then just think about, not action it, just think about the different ways in which they could repurpose it.
Yeah, and I was thinking that what I can do is just, because I've got that file, I can put it in our, I mean, you can put it in your group anyway, but what I could, the easiest way for people to access it is if I put it in the 2 Think Tree Hub groups, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fine. And if everybody's coming through the link that I sent, because all my clones now, everybody's coming under my name. Sorry about that, everyone. If you're not in the Therapist Hub, if you're not in Thinktree, then just private message me and then I can send you the slides and the workbook if it would help you.
Perfect. And I think we've probably covered everything we need to cover. That was so useful.
Thank you.
This will be up on YouTube. So again, if you've got friends who might benefit from it, share it with them.
Yes. Yeah, no, I definitely do that. If you can send me the, oh yeah, I'm on your YouTube thing anyway, so I get notification when that starts.
Anyway, again, Jane, thank you once more.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Coming and sharing that. It's made me think about a couple of things which I really ought to think about. So that's cool.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Have a lovely day with your grandson.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.